Keeping the love alive with your partner can be an uphill battle when your work is always front and center. In today's episode, we'll talk about how to grow and flourish in your relationships while manifesting your dream career. Private practice owners, are you ready to rewrite the rules for your practice so you can have more time off, a great team, and more income while delivering better patient care? Then you are in the right place. Welcome to the Provider's Edge podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina Runbeck. I'm a provider, an international peak performance keynote speaker, and a best-selling author. My guests and I help providers like you control your practice, control your life, control your future. This is your defining moment to be a disruptor in healthcare. Who do you live for? For yourself, for your family, for your partner, for your friends, for your clients, for your boss? Or maybe you're your own boss and you don't even know what are you doing today. And to build in this world, I hope you're someone who connects with the rest of us who are listening on this show and the speakers here, that you work to live, not the other way around. And the people that for most of us who we live for, are those important key players in our life. And it's hard to have that strong relationship on the daily basis. And it's even harder, especially with your significant other, to feel the lovely, exciting, the sparks, to feel like you're falling in love on every day and not get sidetracked by the hardships, by the roadblocks that we are having to deal with on a daily basis. And that's why I'm so excited to have with us today. And he is my friend from Germany. And we've gone through both knowing each other through friends, being on his amazing summit he just hosted. He'll tell you more about those. And he is the CEO at Liberating Lifestyle, the founder of the AIM system, a 3-step transformational experience for in-demand professionals and their spouses or life partners. He believes in cultivating the internal certainty and clarity that improve your outcomes financially in business and emotionally in relationships. In fact, his superpower is deciphering patterns in a couple or family relationship and translate them into straightforward, actionable framework that makes the pattern visible, understandable, and adjustable. This allows him to work efficiently and effectively with his clients, helping them achieve lasting results in 8 hours or less. Super impressive for any of us just to get things done nowadays. Mine in 8 hours or less, just one work day, right? So please introduce yourself. Love having you here.
Wow, it's a pleasure being here with you, Sabrina. Thank you for having me. It's fantastic to see you again, my friend. So, yeah, what should I say? The 8 hours or less is kind of like, because I was fortunate enough to really start 14 years ago with what I do, and I've delivered more than 15,000 live sessions. That means like over 30,000 coaching hours worldwide. And so I think I get quite effective and efficient on the way to today. So that's kind of like how it happened, that I'm able and created this system so my clients can achieve these lasting results.
Which is amazing because you have so much experience in this field in building that strong bond relationship with your significant other. So how did that all started? What day and what point you felt like, oh, this is the thing I need to focus on, and then I needed to share with the world because this is something that we actually don't look deeper enough?
And thank you for giving me the opportunity also to dive a little bit deeper. You see, it all started 6 days before Christmas, 2016. My mother died and I became the last remaining member of my close family. And can you imagine the full understanding of what is truly important in life that is held in a moment like that? Right. So she was the one that brought me into this world. And I always cherished that I was there for her, holding her hands when she left. And I loved my family, and it was my safe haven, kind of like a campfire that you can come to, feel totally comfortable around, and just being part of a family. But it wasn't always like this. As a young boy, I was sexually abused and told no one. I relied on that safe haven of family until I lost two very important members, my uncle when I was 16 and my father when I was 23. And, something just broke inside of me. And I started to believe my family has given up on me. I distanced myself from the rest of them, even my mother, because I didn't tell her. And, I couldn't. I didn't feel comfortable in telling anyone what I was going through. And when I looked around, I thought everyone else had it together, and it was me not coping. So after the death of my uncle and my dad, I tried everything to compensate for the big hole inside of me where, my family used to be, but nothing worked. I became isolated, separated from friends, lost my job, was overwhelmed, physically and emotionally exhausted. And I felt there was no reason for being in this world. I was convinced that I could not feel anything. And the truth was, I didn't feel anything. I was numb. That's when I found myself on the edge of a bridge. And I remember it was a crystal clear but bitterly cold winter night. I was watching the stars, breathing the cold air in and out. I could see my breath. I slowly leaned forward. I let go. But at that moment, something happened. While everything else was pitch black inside and out, I saw a tiny little light inside me. And then I felt it. Something sitting right under my nose. And because I hadn't been able to feel it, I couldn't perceive it. For the very first time since my father had died 5 years before that, I felt something inside me and it drew me back. You see, that night I learned an important lesson, and it took me more than 20 years of continuous personal development to create the AIM system, my proprietary work that creates, as you mentioned, lasting results in people in 8 hours or less.
Transformation is a two-part mechanism. First, you have to learn to let go. That means letting go of all your judgments, your unrealistic expectations, and anything that's weighing on your heart and your mind. These are the things that do not serve you and, in fact, preventing you from truly feeling your emotions. Then comes the second part, letting in what already exists in the moment. This is the time to become present to how you feel and how you currently perceive yourself and your life. From there, you can get a better understanding of how to lead your life going forward. As a high-functioning professional, you are taught to focus on finding the solution first and worry about emotions later. To build an anti-burnout system for yourself and your loved ones, you need to reverse your thinking. Process your feeling first and then move toward a solution. This is the art of letting go and letting in. So how can you apply this for yourself? Start by slowing down to take an inventory of your feelings. If you're feeling numb, worn out, or depressed, that is the time to figure out what you can let go of and what you can let in. If you like today's episode, please share it with your families and friends as well as other healthcare leaders. They will appreciate you for thinking of their well-being. Now let's get back to the rest of our exciting show.
Like on the bridge that night, the secret that almost nobody in the industry of transformation and health is focusing on. Letting go is only 50% of the equation. Without the other half of the equation, letting go leaves you in free fall. So what if I tell you the other 50% after you let go is to feel, perceive, and let in what is already there? It's like a muscle, letting go and letting in. It's a two-part mechanism, and it's happening at the same time always. We're just so focused on letting go that we miss the opportunity to consciously bring in what is there in that very moment, to help you to get into action and do things differently.
a lot of us who are high functioning, and especially in the medical world, we are trained to just solve problems. And therefore, we create a lie in our head to say, if we hold on to what's not okay, and then it inhibit us from moving forward. We have just to get over it and just get to the next point. So it's about what you're saying. We're just not exactly free falling. We don't think we're free falling, right? We're thinking, oh, we just jumped over it. And then we're just trying to figure out what's next. But in the moment of already quote unquote passing the event and trying to solve things, if we're not open to receive, right? In psychology, we have two extremes. It's either we're feeling like we can solve everything, we got it all, who are you to interrupt me? Or if someone's giving that precious time and resource for you, and you feel like, oh, how do I pay them back? I'm not in that place to be able to be okay, to not be okay, right? So then we have the extreme of not being open to receive. And then it's also really hard for us to solve anything that we wanted to achieve. Whereas you're saying, like, the least efficient way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this is also the reason why I made myself a promise all these years ago that I'm still keeping today, is helping other people to learn this. It's kind of like a switch. Click, and instantly you have access to all the resources inside of you, your full potential at your disposal always. And, energy, positive thoughts, and a sense of certainty are flooding your internal system. Any worries, struggles, big, small, negative thoughts you're stuck with, just click, letting go and letting in. At one point, it's going to be just like that. And it's your switch to, you actually can strengthen and re-energize your relationship. And you mentioned the YFM, Your Family Matters. This is what this weekend was all about, to learn about this switch inside of us so you can really re-energize your relationship with your spouse or life partner daily. And it can also be your happy family switch, your success switch, for the small things or the big stuff. And it's also your results switch in your business and your family life. And even, and it can be your goosebump switch if you decide. So if you turn your switch on, just click it on, and right there it is. And, this also means having something like this letting go and letting in switch inside of us. This also becomes your own anti-burnout system. That cool?
Exactly. It's that goosebump, as you're saying, is part of trusting our intuition, and our body gonna give us some cues. But most of the time, we got so trapped into the stress, the criticizing thoughts that we give to ourselves or others. We are not allowing ourselves to feel the hints from our own body and to really teach us and light us. And when we become too logical, right, the process of the scientific mind in medicine is always, what's the research? What's the outcome? How many people you talk to, right? But if we got ourselves into such a logical side of us, then become analysis paralysis. You're never actually moving forward whatsoever. But to go back into what is your natural gut telling you? What are other senses that's giving you those goosebump hints, right? The little click that you can trigger yourself. And all of us at some point in our life going to have that switch. Are you going to wait really for that switch to do something? Or you actually preemptively, right, focus on the preventative side of us instead of disease focusing side, right? In medicine, where it's so hard to get people to think about preemptively prevent yourself from getting into trouble. Then, now I realize there's a big problem. Then I do something about it, right? So I would love to hear your perspective on that. And then how did you really create, what is some of the first thing when you walk through talking to one, let's say a healthpreneur or a leader, when they go to you, what are some of the bigger problems that they really want you to solve, and how you taking them through that?
But you just mentioned, because, medical professionals especially are, they're just used to use logic. They're working with systems. So it's all about the systemic thinking part. And so, but they all, exit their practices and enter their homes.
Our speaker today often works with high-achieving professionals who are with equal ambitious spouse or partners, or as he referred to them, the VIP, very important partners. For these couples, an imbalance in the marriage often occurs when one partner's career is prioritized, leaving the other one feeling left out and abandoned. Unless the couple takes preventative measures to disrupt the current state of their marriage, divorce is on the horizon. Duckhorn's programs were designed to help couples to see themselves and each other again so they can finally bring harmony back into their relationship.
And at that moment, when they walk into the door, they become, fathers, mothers, they become husbands and wives. So it's a total different role. And, it's a total different realm. And, that's, one of the reasons what differentiates me working with these high achiever families is that when I, work with them, that, typically what happens in these high achiever families from the perspective of I call them often the VIPs, the very important partners in the equation, they feel like they're kind of like down here, while the breadwinner, so to speak, is up here, and they resent that. So they feel abandoned. They ask themselves, what about me? What's the next step in my career? And there's an imbalance in their relationship. Then it starts too often that, they're creating anguishing arguments over and over. And then too often also the big deal is looming on the horizon. And in my experience, the divorce is kind of like the pathway taken when you want to live independent outside of marriage. And this is when I come into the picture, because what differentiates me, because I'm not a family counselor. I don't have my clients together and coach them together. No, I coach them individually and separately. And so they can start to regain what is necessary at that stage, their independence within their relationship first, because, possibly they were feeling disconnected from each other, kind of lost the spark, or they were arguing over and over with each other, or also there's, experience a lack of passion. And so there's these kind of mechanisms, they happen in these close partnerships. So they need to really regain their independence first to become eye to eye again. And we do these in regular evaluation sessions. Well, I should say they're more like falling back in love sessions, lots of goosebumps moments involved in that. And that helps them to really see each other eye to eye again, and to look at each other kind of like, and see, oh, this is how I trigger you, and you trigger me with your old family, sticky family patterns, and so on, and really appreciate each other, and so therefore create, using their differences at the end of the day as a catalyst for an unshakable togetherness that they can achieve together. And so therefore they upgrade to an interdependent relationship where they really cherish each other, but they respect each other's independencies. And so that essentially is the pathway to divorce-proof your marriage.
I think that's a really good point when you said individually being strong, and that people are complement of each other and they're growing together and no longer feeling like you are dependent. And so in some ways, I think traditional couple therapy with a psychologist and a therapist are a couple going together and they talk about whatever the main issue is. However, the problem in that setting is making the other person feel blamed, feel shamed. And then we bring out all those negativities instead of individually. How can we grow to who we need to be for ourselves and for each other, and then come together? Then we're a whole. We're no longer a half circle trying to fit the puzzle, but we're already whole. And when we are filled, when we're excited, when we are all about living and achieving, then things become synergistically positive instead of still focusing on what doesn't work, right? And I think that this is awesome. And so what are the 3 steps in AIM? What are these each letter stand for?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. Well, the AIM is an acronym, as you just mentioned. It stands for Activation, Implementation, and Manifestation. So first, we have to activate, of course, your letting go, letting in mechanism I was talking about earlier. And, the results are essentially you liberate your vitality and you crack your code of personal transformation. And then you will be able to actually activate your own anti-burnout system. So you are prepared for the next phase, and that is implementation. And by the way, it's also a system that works 3 levels deep. So, and it's kind of like, the implementation it's really on the deepest level. It's the belief system, of course, and then there's the patterns, and then there's the behavior. And that's why it's so effective. And so, after the activation, the implementation follows, where we essentially start to work on each other, each of the life partners' own independency. So for example, for the VIPs, very often it means to work on their, as I call the $1 million sentence. That means starting a career, becoming an entrepreneur, and, earning money, because they not only want to provide emotionally to their families, they want to provide financially. They want to become eye to eye again. It's not about the quantity in numbers, it's about the quality of their lifestyle. So that's kind of the first step to really realize that. And for the leaders, as they become better leaders because of that understanding about themselves. Becoming a better father and husband at home means they are also better leaders at work, wherever that is. And so then we focus on really achieving abundance in all areas of life, and therefore creating a respectful eye-to-eye intimacy with your life partner. And that means you level up to each other and enjoy this, I mentioned earlier, this interdependent relationship where you both are really equally independent with loving support for each other. And after that, you will have triggered so much momentum internally that you will be ready for the next step. And this is the key to repeatedly achieving success with higher standard. And it's called manifestation, and it's so necessary. But first, you master setbacks. And here's why, briefly. Think about how much time it has taken to establish your old belief system, right? So you created your old map of reality as a reaction to something in your past. There was an extraordinary incident in your life without knowing better, of course. But that is just normal. And that is also the reason why the AIM system is more effective than others that are not taking the time to give you the necessary time and flexibility to learn from your setbacks and master them. And you achieve the highest form of self-actualization, knowing with 100% certainty your true why you're here and who you are. So that's kind of really the promise I give my clients, to ultimately learn how you can be more of you and how to make your differences a catalyst for unshakable togetherness without compromise or guilt, and in 90 days or less.
Yeah, unshakable way to be together. And that's such a key part, is how do you come together and not feeling like you're still alone. No matter how long you've been dating, you've been married, or you just simply figuring out who you are as a person, but feeling that body, that person next to you are still understand you, and not just expect that, oh, we've been together long enough, they should just get me. Because all the time we're evolving one day after another, and hopefully we're on the road to be better every day. And it's hard to be someone who know everything. It's inhuman to do that. And we are not striving to be superhuman here. We're just striving to be doing the version of success for ourselves. And that's defined differently for everybody. Some people prefer more flexibility with time versus money versus relationship versus what they truly see as exciting in life. And that's okay as long as we're clear on what that even look like and to feel successful. So I ask all my invitation, our amazing speakers to do a quick assessment on yourself and share with our audience. When you look at your holistic way of life and look into what are you can really strength you can leverage on more, and then the area that you haven't been able to tap into as well, what does that look like for you, and if anything that you would do differently in your life right now?
The strength would be the mental wellness, so to speak, because I'm training my brain every day with my clients with the one thing that is my true why, and that is helping other people to guide them to their perceptions and so they can change their lives. And I think that's kind of like the daily issue. So therefore my mental well-being is, I think, the strongest skill or capabilities I maintain. And the going to the other side is kind of like, due to COVID and the pandemic, it's going to be the social interactions and the social support, I guess. So we all live in studios like this. And so it's kind of like it's the lack of the human interaction, I think, that all of us are experiencing more or less. And essentially having that as a normal has changed. It's not normal any longer, not too normal, I must say. And so therefore, I think for myself, I would like to go meet them people and hug them as we did before. So I think that's one part that I'm really looking forward to strengthen again.
Yeah, it's finding what's your new normal and what you would really feel connected with, and that human touch for many people, because it's the lacking in the environment. And how else, right? The biggest problem for all of us is how else would I get that sense of belonging, the sense of connection with other people? And so for anybody who has a big aha to talk about that, let's have a chat. And I love for you guys to be here, to be on this show, listening in. We know you can be doing anything, and you choose us, and you choose to invest in yourself for the past 20 minutes. So we appreciate you. And share this episode with a friend, a colleague who you think will also benefit from building your strong relationship and partnership. I know people's going to want to talk to you more. So how would they find you?
Well, it's easy. Just go to my website. It's uweduckhorn.com. That's uweduckhorn.com. I do regular demonstrations of how I help my clients, and you can always find on the top of the website when the next one is coming up. So that's just easy. So it's the easiest way to connect with me.
Exactly. And he has a very thriving and fun podcast I was fortunate to be on as well. So there's a lot more wisdom over there to check him out. Thank you guys for being here, for always being awesome, and knowing you are already awesome. The statistics show that more than 80% of us forget how awesome we are. So be the best leader you can be for yourself, for your family, for your patients, and for your team. Until next time, bye-bye. In today's episode, we discuss what is the root of relationship issues in high-achieving families. If you resonate with any part of this episode, you most likely know what it's like to keep you and your partner as you pursue your goals and how tricky that can be. To recap, number 1, care. Cherish and prioritize your partner and your family just as much as you do for your career. The relationships of the people who are closest to you, not only the most meaningful, but have the power to be the most supportive, especially during times of high stress. Your relationships are the key to creating your anti-burnout system. Number 2, as high-performing professionals, don't get caught up in what's next all the time. This way of thinking not only prevents you from being present to your wants and needs, but it also impacts the way that you are at home. Your partner and your family can clearly see when your mind is somewhere else, which can cause imbalance and conflict in your relationships. Practice putting away your working hat when you get home so you can stop the noise in your head and be fully focused on your household. Number 3, your relationship with yourself impacts the well-being of other relationships. When you are happy, everyone else is happy too. When you are burned out, however, that opens the door to anxiety and tension in the household. If you want any easy way to fix your relationships, focus on your relationship with yourself first. When you find yourself again, that will create a ripple effect for your partners and your family. Number 4, you can't fix everything with logic. In school, you're often taught to look for systems and solutions right away. When it comes to improving your relationship to yourself and your partner, jumping into solutions too quickly could actually backfire because it does not take emotions into account. When you're stressed out, take the time to take in yours and your partner's emotions. Perceive your surroundings and then move forward. Number 5, your partner has aspirations too. They have dreams and goals they have been meaning to go after outside of your career. Listen to your partner to figure out what is important to them, and then figure out how you two can work together to work on your individual achievements. I hope you liked today's episode. You're listening to me right now. Odds are you're frustrated by how healthcare practices are running today. I'm with you. I'm looking to change the conversation that we're having in the healthcare industry. It starts with me and it starts with you. I want to connect with you and get to know your struggles and success within the healthcare industry. Visit sabrinarunbeck.com/connect, where you can send me a direct message.
She really gets the conversation. She understands. She's an incredible listener. We were talking about worthiness, and she really understands the concept of it, how it affects people in their businesses, in their clinics, in their daily life, in their relationships. So I just want to encourage you to, one, listen to our show, but to jump on board and start listening to this woman, because she has so much insight and wisdom that you don't want to miss out.
Now, open up a browser and type in sabrinarunbeck.com/blueprint. Let's create a blueprint for you to gain back a day per week and creating more impact, income, and freedom in your day. We'll talk soon.